You're listening to WooSox Insider, presented by your Worcester Red Sox.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the WooSox Insider podcast. I'm TQ alongside Dylan McCaffrey, Dave Leonardi, and two very, very special guests today, Mario Oliveira and Kyle Wagner, who are taking care of the clubhouses, taking care of the guys going out on the field, providing all of us Worcester natives some entertainment basically every other week here at Polar Park. Fellas, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Now, Mario, you are our second guest to return to the show after Steve Oliveira. You can consider yourself in direct competition with his episode last week to give us more juice your second time around. Kyle, it's been a long time coming. It's great to finally have you here. Last episode, we talked with Mario about the 2021 season and the great times we had. And I want to save some of that for the end for Kyle for his stories from last year. But I mean, we're at the All-Star break. This is halfway through the season, and had a lot of big names coming in and out of these locker rooms. What's it been like for you guys, year two in the Woo?
I mean, for me, I think this season's flying by so far. I was just looking at the schedule earlier today and realized we got 3 games coming up, and then after that we only have 4 homestands left. So it seems like the season just started, but we're past the halfway point, even though it's the All-Star break. And I mean, I don't think Kyle and I are complaining about 4 homestands left. We're getting there. We're getting there.
All-Star break was due. Absolutely.
Definitely.
Oh yeah. Especially on the visiting side, constantly seeing new people, but constantly being here. And no one really realizes how much goes into taking care of visiting teams, especially in the off weeks as well. It was good to finally actually get away for a little bit.
Yeah, because Mario can build a rapport with these guys, right? Like over the year, there's some trust that gets built. Are you starting fresh every homestand? Like, welcome to the club?
Honestly, especially with the relationships I've built with like coaching staffs or training staff or a strength coach, or honestly, even returning players from last season. Sometimes it's not starting fresh at all. The only team I've completely started fresh with from a returning team was Lehigh. And then I had the luxury of having 2 new teams this year, and then a third, which will be here in a week, which was Durham, but Toledo and Charlotte.
Yeah.
So for the most part, it's a lot of returning faces that I have already known or have met in the past.
That's cool that after 1 year, you have to remember those people.
Who's your favorite visiting player? Like, who's someone that every time they come to town, you're like, I can't wait to see this guy?
Oh, the list goes on of favorite players. It's so hard to pick just one. Honestly, I'm looking at my wall of nameplates that I have above me, and one would probably have to be Rob Brantley, catcher for Scranton.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He's a great guy. Easygoing. I've gotten to learn what he likes, what he dislikes. Honestly, even taking care of his family who travels with him as well. They're just a great group of people.
Yeah, that's not surprising to us because our camera operators that are down in the visitors dugout have all said the same thing too, that anytime they're setting up the camera during pregame, usually players kind of just look at them, maybe nod and run out to the field and do their business. But they said that Rob Brantley every time walks over and introduces himself, asks how they're doing, and says it's good to see him and gets out there. So that's not surprising at all. I'm kind of glad to hear you say that, especially AAA affiliate of the Yankees. You think maybe there's bad blood brewing early down in the minors, but no, Rob Brantley, just an A-plus guy.
And all honesty, it's not even just Rob Brantley for the minors of the Yankees. It's their whole AAA team. Scranton as a whole is probably one of my top teams that I have come in, just of their personalities and how they interact with me. Not just one player being Rob, it's everybody on the team.
Have you gotten a vibe of what they think of the clubhouse that you set up for them versus the clubhouse that they go return home? So have you gotten an opinion of Polar Park as a whole over these last year and a half?
the main room itself, like the main locker room area, it's been said to me or put in this perception that it is the best in AAA baseball. The main room itself, and also, not to toot my own horn, but the service as well that we've provide to them, and it's that reputation that we've had from Pawtucket that Mario and I have tried to bring here and have brought here.
I slept in the visitors clubhouse over winter weekend when we were snowed in for a few days. I gotta say, I was on a comfy couch. There was TVs, there was showers. Not that I used any of the player facilities, but I had a great time calling that my homestead for a few days while I was at Polar Park. One of the best spots to sleep. If you need someone to sleep at Polar Park, this is probably the group to talk to, the people on this Zoom call right now. That's incredible. Mario, what about you? We're checking in halfway through. How's your mental health doing grinding through a baseball season?
Hair's turning gray, but we're getting there. No, it's good. You know, Kyle, I think, really hit the nail on the head when he said we try and keep that reputation that we had in Pawtucket as far as the service that the players get. And in order to do that and provide them the type of service that we feel like they deserve and we feel like we should give them, it's a lot of work and it's a lot of hours and it's a lot of stress, but you know, we always somehow seem to get through it and make them happy. So it's rewarding at the end of the day, reading some of the reviews that they submit after teams come through of how they were treated here, and you know, nothing but good things to say about Kyle and the visiting guys down here and the rest of the staff. So definitely our work isn't going unnoticed, and that's all we can really ask for.
Lovely.
So you guys obviously spend a lot of time here at the ballpark setting up things so they're perfect for whoever's coming in or whoever's coming down on a rehab assignment, whatever it might be. You've gotten a little time off, or at least I hope, during this All-Star break. What do you guys do with your time off?
Hit the golf ball. I don't know if I'd call it golfing, but we hit the golf ball.
Yeah. I was honestly just there today and yesterday. Try to golf as much as possible.
How'd you hit them?
Kind of straight.
That's the best you can ask, really.
Yeah, I did. You know, I go out, I hit the golf ball, try to find it every now and then. It's honestly just a good stress relief. Get away from the ballpark and at least do something that I enjoy.
Kyle, you got to build these skills up. So the next time Rob Brantley comes in the clubhouse, be like, Rob, you got the day off Monday. We going to get links?
I've had my fair share of golfers come through here for sure.
I bet. Yeah. How many team times have you guys booked? Are you guys on that? Are you guys still just doing the grocery shopping and the cooking and cleaning and everything else you have to do?
Have you guys met our pitching coach, Paul Abbott? He golfs maybe every single day. I've booked countless tee times for him. I wouldn't want to golf with him though. He probably is like a scratch golfer for the amount of golf that he plays. And yeah, definitely. We do a lot more than, you know, laundry and taking care of the guys. We call ourselves Mr. Mom around here. And part of that, I guess.
What's the strangest request you've had so far this season?
Kyle, you go first.
Oh, I got to think about this one. Mario, you can take this one.
All right.
First.
Oh man, putting me on the spot. We just had a player, and I'm only gonna say this because it's fresh in my mind. I'm sure that there's been some weird ones that slipped my mind, but we just had a player who got DFA'd from the Red Sox and is gonna sign with a different organization, and he lives in the DR in the off season, but obviously lives in an apartment in Worcester now, or did while he was here. And we had to pack up his whole apartment, send it out back to Miami so he could get it shipped to the DR. So, you know, and it's not just him, it's his wife and his kids, and his whole family was living with him. So boxes upon boxes, and the FedEx guy was not happy with us when we tried to send all that out. But we had about 13 giant U-Haul boxes that we had to send him. This was during the All-Star break, so I didn't get as much off time as I wanted to. But
wow.
At least you guys are keeping in shape.
That's it. Just an example of, you know, different stuff that we have to do that you might not really think about on a daily basis.
Kyle, you got something?
Okay, so he didn't do a rehab stint, but he was optioned down for whatever reason. The powers above know this more than I do, but he came in and he came to my office and he was like, I'm going to stop being a pain in the butt, and this is going to be the last thing I'm going to ask you to do. He wanted to order the team spread like a rehabber would, but then he handed me his card and was like, go buy as much junk food as possible. And I was like, the dietitian said, like, I have to provide these snacks. He goes, nope, I'm the dietitian now. Go buy the Oreos, the Cheez-Its, the Chips Ahoy.
That would be me.
Sugar cookies, you name it. And I had one of my guys go to Walmart and just load up on all the kinds of junk food that you can think of. Dunkaroos is another one.
Oh, Dunkaroos
Yeah, those
are back.
Dunkaroos went home with Mario at the end of the week.
He's not wrong.
Did you pick up any Charleston shoes?
No.
Yeah, good thing you didn't send Dave on this assignment. That's awesome. No, that'd be what I would be looking for in the clubhouse. That's what I eat, on the way in, on the way home. I could probably use the team's dietitian a little more if I had the opportunity.
In the last couple of weeks, we've seen a lot of major league rehab assignments on both sides, like for Worcester and for visiting teams. What, in your personal opinion, do you think is the best spread that has come through those doors that a major league guy got for the whole clubhouse?
This one's easy for me, and this was last year that it happened. When Chris Sale was here last year, there's I don't know if it's Greek or it's some sort of Mediterranean food. It's Shawarma Palace here in Worcester, and Chris Sale shut down the restaurant and brought them to Polar Park. We have our weight room double doors open up into like the main plaza where the fans enter. So right outside the weight room double doors, they set up grills, tents, skewers for meat. They cooked right there for the entire team for 60 guys, just chicken, lamb, beef, rice, pitas, hummus, everything right there. It was unbelievable. I mean, we've had some good food here, but we've never actually had the food cooked directly outside the clubhouse. And that was pretty cool.
It was a cookout on a game day. That's amazing.
They actually said no to Will Ferrell because Will Ferrell was shooting a movie in Worcester and wanted to buy the cast food from that place. And they said, no, Chris Sale wants us and we're doing it.
Shawarma Palace is on the up. I love it. Imagine you're at Shawarma Palace, you pick up the phone, it's like a boring Wednesday, whatever. It's like, oh, hey, this is Chris Sale. Oh my God, we'll be there. The phone rings 10 minutes later. This is Will Ferrell. We need you. I just had Chris Sale. Sorry. That's incredible. Shameless plug. I love Shawarma Palace. So I'm with you there. But yeah, I wanted to bury the lead a little bit and talk to you guys about your season because, I mean, in the last homestand against the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders, we had, half of Boston came down here. We had a packed house every night to see Kike Hernandez, Nathan Eovaldi, Chris Sale. I mean, when players like that are coming down, are you guys like pulling out like the red carpet and the tablecloths in the clubhouse, or like is it business as usual?
No, it's business as usual for us. These guys, they put on their pants the same way every said day that the rest of the guys in the clubhouse do, So obviously we want to make sure that we treat them well and we treat them right and we give them big league treatment, but we try and give everybody here big league treatment. So just because, Chris Sale or Nathan Eovaldi or Kike Hernandez is here, that doesn't mean that the other 30 guys on our roster just disappear for the day. So we want to take care of everybody and give them the same treatment, no matter if they make $30 million a year, or if they make $40,000 a year. They're in our clubhouse and we treat them the same way.
Love to hear that. Was it, and so you don't feel like more pressure, more stress? Like I got Eovaldi coming in, I got to make sure that he's out there throwing gas and his chair is comfortable.
I think the big thing for me is, guys that I've never met before. Like I knew Kike and I knew Sale from last year, but I never met Nate, and I didn't know what type of guy he was. So I guess the stress just comes from what does he expect? Are we going to be good enough for him? And everybody that we've had from Boston so far has been great. Like I can't complain about anybody. Nate's the same way. Nate did so much for us while he was here. But the other thing we have to do is obviously the foundation is going to want them to sign some stuff while they're here. There's going to be a larger media coverage. Like I get all that stuff. And so having to coordinate that, it does make it a little different of a day because it's atypical compared to when these guys are not here. So I guess that's the biggest stress point is just making sure that everybody who needs stuff from these guys are taken care of as well.
It's a beautiful place to come play some baseball.
Kyle, I want to come back to you. Favorite spread? That's the one we missed with you, right, Kyle?
Yeah, that is the one you missed with me. Honestly, I get a lot of the usual places, and unlike the home clubhouse, it's a lot harder for the visiting clubhouse where it's located with the ballpark to do anything that extravagant. But the best spread that a guy has bought the team and taken care of the clubhouse staff, whatever it may be, is 111 Chop House.
Ooh.
Some nice fillets with mashed potatoes and asparagus and some dinner rolls and salad. It's probably the best steak place here in Worcester.
Was that the Chris Sale game?
No, it was not a Chris Sale game.
Oh, wow.
It was just a normal rehab assignment just on a given Tuesday or Wednesday. I can't really remember because they order from there often.
Yeah. The simple pleasures.
Kyle talks like he eats the steak, but he just eats 5 rolls and calls it a day.
Mario's not wrong.
You're passing up a steak, a nice fillet.
No, I'll eat the fillet, but I got my guilty pleasures, and that's rolls with butter.
When you heard that request for some Cheez-Its and for some Dunkaroos and Oreos, that was more your speed than the steak.
Oh yeah, for sure. I still got some Cheez-Its in my storage right here.
Man. I forgot what I was going to ask, if we're being honest. Can you tell I'm rusty?
I have a question.
Go, Dave. Save me.
I know you guys, as Mario said earlier, you guys don't get that much time off because there's always a lot of things to do, for different requests players have and just making sure everybody's taken care of. And you guys do a lot of work in the off weeks as well. But what is it like when there's the double homestand, the 12 games in 13 days? Do you guys have is there a mad dash on that Monday in between the two series? Or is it like a planned out thing where you're like, hey, we got to do these couple things during this homestand to help prepare for the next one as well?
A little bit of both, honestly. I mean, one of the big things, we have to make sure we have enough rubbed up baseballs for the week, and we'll do what we can that first week, but we go through about 12 dozen baseballs a game, so we run out pretty quick. So that Monday,
can you explain to our fans what a rubbed up baseball is? Because
sure,
I went in on the media day to just grab any random baseball. I was like, can I have this baseball? You're like, no, that's perfectly rubbed. You can have any other baseball.
So when we get baseballs sent to us, we call them pearls. They're in a box in plastic wrap. You take them out of the wrap and it's just a brand new baseball like you would buy at Dick's Sporting Goods or something. But then we have mud, and it's literal mud. It's the Lena Blackburn mud, comes from a certain part of the Delaware River. It's the only mud we can put on a baseball. And we have a case of baseballs. You just have to sit there, take a baseball, dip your finger in some mud, rub it on the ball, and just rub it around. It takes about 10 seconds per baseball, but when you go through 12 dozen baseballs a game and you play 6 games a week, or in a double homestand you play 12 games, you go through a lot of baseballs. So it takes us a couple hours to get the baseballs ready for the game. And that's the big thing that we have to do on those Mondays for sure. That and shopping, making sure, we run out of snacks throughout the week. So we got to restock on snacks, drinks, all that good stuff.
And for our listeners who may not know, what does the mud do? Like, what is the purpose of rubbing up the baseball?
It gives the pitcher a better grip on the ball. So if you feel a ball when it first comes out of the box before it's mudded up, it's very slick. It's not easy to control where it's going. The mud it takes that slickness away, and it gives you a little more grip, a little more control on that ball.
If you ever think there's no jobs for you in baseball, there's a job for everyone in baseball. We need people rubbing mud. It's tough. It's got to be done.
There are people for Major League Baseball and minor league baseball just collecting mud from the banks of the Delaware River to ship out nationwide. That's what we're talking about. There's a job for you in baseball.
Backbone of baseball.
I'm glad this question got brought up though, because in the last year and a half or so, or probably year at this point, it's been a huge topic of conversation because hitters like to see a brighter baseball coming at them because you can see it better off the batter's eye. Pitchers obviously want to be able to get a grip, so they might want some with a little more mud rubbed in. It might look a little bit darker, and trying to find the balance between it. So my question to both of you is, have there ever been any pitchers that might come up to you and say like, hey, I like them this certain way. I'm pitching in a couple of days, so if you can try to make them as close to this as possible, go for it.
Yeah, that I had that when we were back in Pawtucket. We had one that liked his a certain way, and then we had another pitcher that liked him a different way. And there was one game that balls, I guess, didn't end up the right way, or they were mixed up with loading them into the bag, however it may be. Kind of wore that one a little bit after the pitcher came out of the game. But from that point forward, they didn't make that mistake again.
Mind you, this pitcher threw like 5 shutout innings. He was throwing a gem, and then in the 6th inning, he got kind of lit up a little bit, let up some runs, and then came in the clubhouse after and let Kyle hear it about the baseballs. And we were like, dude, you're throwing the same baseballs for 5 innings, and you threw, 5 great innings. I don't think it's the baseballs at this point, my friend. Maybe the arm's getting a little tired.
It's a good thing baseball players aren't particular or superstitious about anything related to their routine. Nothing like that. You guys, low maintenance.
Oh, so low maintenance.
If we're talking low maintenance, we're talking about my hockey players, not baseball players here.
Oh yeah, you work at the Railers too, right? You're splitting time.
Yeah, I am. I'm the assistant equipment manager for the Railers in the winters.
Is it very, very different from baseball, or is it more or less the same?
It's a lot different, more so when we have games, they're practicing before games. We practice every single day. We have 1 or 2 off days a week, but we're practicing. Then we also have a practice before the game. So not only am I there on practice days, I'm also there on game days, whereas baseball, I'm here on game days, and that's really when my job really comes into play.
And then also today.
Yep, and also today. Right there.
Trying to break it down like into really micro. What's your favorite thing to do either here or the Railers? Is it like replacing some skates, or is it rubbing down balls, or is it what is it that your favorite thing to do working in the clubhouse? Is it setting up the baseballs for the next day? Is it making sure we have pine tar ready to go? Is it replacing a skate? What is it?
You're not allowed to say eating free steak.
Okay. For me, honestly, it's setting up the room for when the guys show up. Like, I like having everything in a certain way, in a certain order. Everything looks the exact same. The jersey's on the outside of the locker. When it comes to baseball, jerseys on the locker, hats hanging over the jersey. When it comes to hockey, jersey hanging with the logo facing out, socks folded up a certain way with their sweat towel underneath it. Like, I just like making it look presentable and professional for when they walk in.
Mario?
Well, Kyle has that luxury because he's on the visiting side. So team leaves, clubhouse is cleared out, and then the new team comes in and he can make it look exactly how he wants it. I don't have that luxury because when the team leaves and the lockers are a mess, they're still a mess when they get back. I can't do much about that. I would say for me, it's setting up the food, which is probably a strange answer, but when the food comes like buffet style, if we do catering and it's family buffet style, I like making it look presentable in the shapers that we have in the clubhouse. It's just the aesthetic appeal to it. Yeah, I don't know. That's my favorite thing to do. It's a lot of guys don't like it, and so I'll happily take that on and do it every time the food comes.
Along with the mud and the sweat, it is quite a bit of interior design and like hospitality. Like it's
absolutely.
It's like you're working at a hotel for just nonstop athletes.
Yeah.
So Mario, this question's mostly going to be to you. Kyle, I don't know how much you helped out being mostly on the visitor side, but a couple weekends ago, Paw Sox Heritage Night. Did we bring those uniforms from Pawtucket? I know we had just a certain a smorgasbord of numbers that aren't necessarily what the guys have been wearing all year. Walk us through what it took to get set up from a uniform standpoint for Paw Sox Heritage Night.
So yes, we did bring those uniforms from Pawtucket when we were packing up McCoy. We thought it might be a good idea to bring a set of uniforms over. So we took our home whites, and then we had a set of hats that we had ordered from the 2020 season. They were actually going to be the 4th of July hats for the 2020
No
season.
way. Those are the 2020 hats?
Yes. And obviously we didn't end up using them. So we brought those over as well. But yeah, the numbers were all different because the sizes and the numbers that we had in Pawtucket don't coordinate to the sizes and the numbers that we have here. So we also had, I don't know what it is, but our roster has grown tremendously since the days in Pawtucket. So we were very short on jerseys. It was giving me a heart attack the days leading up to it because we had no extra jerseys. Every guy that was on the field had a jersey, but if there was one more guy or one more rehabber that was scheduled to be there that day, we would have had somebody without a jersey and it would have been chaos. So
I think Dave's probably got a Paw Sox jersey in his closet somewhere.
Oh yeah, I got like a bunch of different kinds of jerseys and stuff.
What we had to do is the day before, I had the jerseys ready to go, and I went to our manager and I asked, all right, I need the names of the pitchers who obviously I know the 4 starters that aren't going to be pitching today. And then I need the names of the guys in the bullpen that probably are not going to be pitching today, because for them, they need jerseys, but we're going to give them double XLs, even if they're a size medium, because it's not important for them to have the correct size, So we prioritized the starting lineup. We prioritized the starting pitcher and the guys that we knew would be coming out of the bullpen, because the most important thing is making sure the jersey fits. Most guys don't really care about the number, but they want to have a jersey that fits. So we need to make sure that happened, and we were somehow able to get through it. So hopefully we don't have another instance where we don't have enough jerseys for guys in the clubhouse, but we made it through that one.
I also want to thank you and the whole coaching staff and Bill Wanless, because that was a Saturday game, the Paw Sox game. And Friday night, we pick up fireworks after the Unibank fireworks show. We head up to the DCU club to have a couple 2-tree drinks. And Bill Wanless comes over to me with a roster. And he says, hey, here are jersey numbers for tomorrow. There are a lot of changes, but Mario made sure to get them to us early. And there are so many, all the video board headshots, all of the scoring, the graphics with stats on our TV broadcast. All of those are tied into the player's uniform number. And otherwise, it'll just show up as zeros, or a headshot won't show up. So thank you so much for getting that to us the night before, because that would have been horrible to show up at 9 a.m. and have to wait on them, and then first pitch at 4:05 be ready to go. So you're a lifesaver, more than you know.
We do what we can.
It is appreciated. That day we came in on Saturday, I had stuff planned for Paw Sox Day, but in the 6 hours from when you get there, when the game starts, that's a 6-hour window of opportunity. Let's go find this old video. Let's go find this old interview with this guy, whatever we can do to make the day greater. And so having one less thing to scramble and try to figure out at the last second is always really nice.
Well, good to hear.
Much appreciated. And it was really fun on the days that I got to be out of the control room to talk and be in the media spread for Chris Sale and for Nathan Eovaldi. Coming down to the clubhouse was awesome, getting to talk to those guys. And Mario was right there trying to find the best place for him. We were saying, maybe the family room, maybe outside, maybe this place, that place. We went through all the options of just where the player is going to be the most comfortable. And people should know that we got Mario Oliveira looking out for the guys on the way to Boston down in this clubhouse. They're taken care of. You guys said you're the moms. You're not even the dads. You're the moms.
We're both. We're the parents.
We'll get you guys something nice next Mother's Day and Father's Day.
Oh, that's actually not a bad idea. We'll start thinking of something. You might be throwing out first pitches on Mother's Day next year.
That would be a great bit. I love that.
Sorry, other moms, you guys are out today.
Yeah.
We got our Clubhouse guys doing it.
Yeah, and catching Mario and Kyle are their sons, the entire roster of the Worcester Red Sox.
And the visiting team.
Yeah, the
Whoever it
visiting
is
team
there
too.
that day.
Just the whole team behind home plate, ready to catch a pitch.
All right, before we let you guys leave, I do need to ask about just in general. Mario, you can draw from this year. Kyle, because you weren't on the first episode, you can draw from last year. But we heard some wacky stories the first time we had Mario on about balls hitting windshields and just crazy stuff that you don't expect
A
to with
player
on a day-to-day
dropping his
basis.
pants off as a form of retirement to Mario,
Yeah,
his
and-
official announcement.
You got any pants yet this year, Mario? Any retirement
No pants yet this year. No pants.
That's good stuff. All right, yeah. What are some crazy highlights? Obviously, don't throw anyone under the bus, but I need to hear just the zany hijinks, whatever you got last season included, before we let you get back to your very important mom duties.
I've got a smorgasbord of stories I can pick from. Kyle was here for this one. So it was earlier in the year and it was kind of still, a lot of our things were still at Fenway. So when we come back from spring training, everything goes to Fenway. And then we have to go to Fenway to pick up all of the Worcester stuff and bring it here. So we have the Penske truck that is owned by the team that we use to go to Fenway when we have a big load of stuff to grab. So Kyle and I went to Fenway one day we took the Penske truck to go load up some weight trunks and player packages and whatever else they had there. And I'd been told since I started in the clubhouse that I kind of look like Ryan Brazier a little bit. I don't personally see it, but
I kind of do now.
If it's a head tilt, maybe you'll see it then. But it was a game day. We were there earlier in the morning, before really any of the players got there. And I'm standing outside the Penske truck waiting for their clubhouse guys to bring some of the stuff out. And I hear this fan behind me and he just starts yelling, "Hey, Brazier! And he's just letting me have it. And he genuinely thought that I was Ryan Brazier. And I was not turning around, didn't give him the time of day. And then one of the clubhouse guys came outside. It was me and Kyle's boss in 2019 and 2020 before he went up to Fenway, Josh. He's a tall redhead with a beard. So he came out carrying a couple packages. Well, now this guy thought he was Jake Diekman. So we've got Brazier and Diekman outside, and this guy is just wearing us out, letting us have it. So I've always, I've told Kyle and I've told my guys, I don't see the Brazier comparison. I don't think that it's real. But after that story, I guess I got to live with it now.
Dave, we're going to need a side-by-side in this.
Yeah.
I was saying, I could see it. I could see it now that you said that.
I think you look a lot more like Brazier than Josh Liebenau looks like Diekman.
Absolutely agree. But this guy, if we're in the players lot at Fenway, we must be players, right? So he just was like, all right, this guy looks like Diekman, tall redhead, gotta be him.
Are you guys like carrying boxes? Like he thinks that the Red Sox
that's the other thing. Like, we're loading stuff onto a Penske truck. You really think these players are out there doing that?
You got to move your own stuff.
That's awesome.
Dave, you had one more question?
I think Kyle had one more story. I'll ask that after.
Okay, yeah. So it was Syracuse. Two of these guys have always, I guess, been the pranksters in the clubhouse, going back and forth between each other. And I didn't realize it. So when I placed the locker, like where they're going to sit in the clubhouse, I put all the pitchers on one side of the room, all the position players on the other side. And then it's kind of just you get what you get, who you're sitting next to. Well, I put these two guys directly next to each other, not knowing. So day one of the guys came in and he came up to me and he was like, "Hey, like I constantly pull this prank. If he leaves his chair out like in the middle of the walkway, I'll trip over it and then give him some crap after. Can you go up to him and then just be like, hey, can you make sure your chair's pushed in? Someone's going to trip. Someone's going to get hurt. Like, can you handle that?" And I was like, yeah, I can 100% do that. So I went up to him. Immediately, he knew who told me to come say this. The next day, the player that pushed his chair out came to my office and he was like, hey, just move put my loop, like the laundry loop with all my clothes, hang up my loop in his locker with all my clothes. So then I'll come in and I take my clothes out of his locker. And I was like, okay, sure, not a problem. So I was literally the middleman of going back and forth, pranking these two guys to prank each other.
Not even the middleman. You're the one doing it.
I was going to say, hold on.
Like, you're the one telling me to do these things, but I'm the middle guy, the middleman.
Here's my alternate perspective. Have you ever thought that maybe both of them were just pranking you by seeing how far you'll go and just do these random things?
Honestly, I thought of it, but in all honesty, I told one of the guys, I was like, I grew up in a locker room. I grew up around hockey players. Like, hockey players are the biggest pranksters I've ever seen. So, like, I'll go pretty far when it comes to pulling pranks.
Kyle went as far as to moving one of these guys' entire locker into the other guy's locker. So one guy came in one day, he had an empty locker, and the other guy had double the stuff in his.
That's awesome.
I would have not had the stones to go up to a guy and be like, can you move your chair? Can you handle that? Like, thank God he realized it was a prank, but good on you for committing to the bit. We love someone committing to a bit on this show.
I've even gone as far as even one of our clubhouse attire has Mario's face on it. That's another story for a different time.
Yeah.
But we have a T-shirt with Mario's face on it. So
I need that.
We'll save that for the
batting practice.
postseason recap with you guys. We'll save it for then.
So the last question before we let you guys go is, we've had a lot of call-ups this season and a lot of guys moving up to Boston. And obviously we want them to stay there because everyone on the roster deserves to go up there to the major leagues at some point. What guy do you really miss being down here? Like, is it, kind of like a friendship you form with them, just their personality being in the clubhouse? Is there anyone that's gone up to Boston that you miss being in the clubhouse here in Worcester?
They all watch this show, so pick a favorite, and the rest just know they'll be hurt.
One of my all-time favorite guys that's ever come through this clubhouse is Tanner Houck. And he was here for most of the year last year and is obviously having tremendous success in Boston right now. And I don't want him back here. I'm happy to see him succeed and happy to see him do what he's doing. But when a guy like that goes up, it leaves a void. You definitely, yes, I miss him and I want to see him. But the only way that I could see him is if he starts struggling, get option back down, or he gets hurt and has to do a rehab assignment. And I don't want to wish for either of those things. So Tanner is a big one for me. And then, Franchi is just such a good dude, such a great guy to be around, always a smile on his face. Jaron Duran is a guy who Kyle and I feel like have a special relationship with him as far as, we treat him like a piece of crap. And but he's okay with it because he knows that that's us, that's our relationship with JD. So
yeah, just goofing.
I'm just having those times and those laughs with him. But no, like I said, we have a lot of good guys on this team. So everybody who goes up there, it's great to see them succeed and do what they do and help Boston win games. Because at the end of the day, that's what you want, right? You want these guys to make it to Boston. You want them to help Boston win. Everybody, but those three are the big ones.
Kyle, what about for you?
He took one of them was Tanner. I remember Tanner from the first time he showed up in Pawtucket in 2019. And I remember having this conversation with him during the 2020 season when he finally opened up and showed his personality. When he showed up in 19, he was quiet, kept to himself, whatever. And I remember telling him, I was like, I honestly thought you hated my guts. You always just stared me down, but wouldn't say a word to me. And he was like, I was just shocked I was there. It wasn't anything against anybody else. I was just keeping to myself. But Tanner and I have that relationship as well because we had a fantasy football team together in 2020.
A shared team?
Yeah, a shared team.
They traded me Dalvin Cook and Devontae Adams for Christian McCaffrey at the beginning of the year, and that won me the fantasy league. So thank you, Kyle and Tanner, for that. Appreciate
it. Well, because McCaffrey ended up going out and getting hurt.
it.
Yep.
But, having him, he has always treated me well. Just his personality and how he's always willing to joke around and whatnot. A name that Mario didn't say that is a guy that I miss is Bobby Dahlbeck. He's another that was just a great clubhouse guy, always willing to talk, always willing to have a conversation and let us do our job, but never really asked for much.
Mm-hmm.
There is no closer bond among men than co-managing a fantasy football team together. That's a really special thing that you guys shared, and I respect it.
You gave up Dalvin Cook and Devontae Adams for Christian McCaffrey. Kyle,
Amari Cooper was in that deal too. It was Christian McCaffrey and Amari Cooper for Dalvin Cook and Devontae Adams, but apparently Tanner and Kyle just had no idea what they were doing.
At the time,
who was the one that sent that trade? Who was the GM for that trade?
Oh, that was me, 1,000%.
Big brain Mario over here.
How did it come about that you and Tanner were gonna co-manage a team? Like, who asked who, I guess is what I'm asking.
So I was walking through the clubhouse, and if you guys remember the goofball of the clubhouse in 2020 and 2021, Jet Bandy.
Yeah,
he was starting a fantasy team or a fantasy league, and it was for everybody in the clubhouse. And they needed one more guy, but the buy-in for it was way too much from what I could afford at the time. So he had been bothering me and he had been bothering Tanner. And then at one point, Tanner just goes, I'll put up the money. You run the team. And I went, sure, works for me.
Oh, you should have called me. I would have known. Next time.
We started off
awesome.
Good and then just did not end up good. Tanner's been salty with me ever since.
I was gonna ask if he's really fed up that he put the investment in and then that trade really just ruined it.
That day there was a day that we went up to Fenway with the Penske truck, and it was when everybody was coming back from spring training. This was before Alt Site last year. We were moving into the brand new ballpark. I went up with one of our clubhouse guys, standing outside Fenway waiting for the truck to show up. Buses pull up. Tanner came off. He had some choice words for me. He had some choice words.
You better handle these bags better than you handled that trade.
Awesome. Man. All right. Well, I think that's our time. So thank you guys so much for joining us. If anyone wants to come to the ballpark and maybe catch a glimpse of Mario and Kyle, even though they're usually working in the bowels of Polar Park, get your tickets at WooSox.com or call the ticket office at 508-500-8888, or just stop by Polar Park. Go to the ticket office in person. No better experience than that. Get some good seats. Plenty still available for home games to come. But Mario, Kyle, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us, guys. It was a lot of fun.
All right, let's all get back to it. What do you say?
Sure.